So, Yives asks, does anyone think that the Oilers need to try and trade for some kind of temporary solution on the right wing so that Yamamoto or Puljujarvi or both get sent down to Bakersfield? There are players there, but they just don't look ready yet.
He thinks that we should trade for a person on the right wing?
He thinks so. Ives is asking.
I believe it's pronounced Ives.
No, it's Ives.
Okay.
Yves, Ives. Wants to know if we should trade for someone so that Puljujarvi and or Yamamoto.
Okay,
I don't think that it's necessary to make a trade. However, I do see the merits in putting both Yamamoto and Puljujarvi in the AHL.
I completely agree. What do you think?
He's saying there are no players there. Oh no, there are players there, but they just don't look ready yet. Are you saying Alex Chiazon and Ty Ratty don't look ready?
No, what I think he's saying is Ives is saying that with Yamamoto and Puljujarvi, there's players there, but they're just not ready to be like NHLers yet. But they will be.
Do you get what he's saying? That there's a player in Yamamoto and there's a player in Puljujarvi there that they don't want to have them sitting on the.
So
I'm cool with them being sent down. I think Chiazon can obviously fill the right side.
Chiazon fits on the second line, the Draisaitl line, and then you have two spots open there. One's Caggiula, one's Ratty, and I think what you do is you have Caggiula and Ratty compete for the top line, and then the other one gets put into the black hole with Lucic and Strome, who will never score ever.
I just think I don't think you necessarily need to make a trade. I think if you put the camera on me. I think
all day long, Dad's like, me, put the camera on me.
I think that a guy like Brad Malone is available on the farm team.
He's the only one that even knows that name.
Come sit on the sit in press box for most of the season and be fine. And I think Cooper Marody, while they need to try and find him some games here and there, I think that he's an option to play instead of Cassian or instead of Caggiula when he stops being hot, that kind of thing. I don't think you need to go make a trade. I don't think we're at that point where we need to start adding to depth. This was already an issue before the season started, so I think making a trade now is a
all right. So next question. Greg wants to know.
Put the camera on me.
Nope, don't get the camera on Dan anymore at all. Greg wants to know, what has been your first impression of Mikko Koskinen so far? I know it's early, but what are your first thoughts after seeing him play?
What about you, goalie guild?
This is a goalie-ass guy here.
My guard is still up on Mikko Koskinen. You can't argue with his three...
Is your guard up?
Yeah, my guard's up like that. You can't argue with his 3 wins. He's played great. I'm still, I think I'm glad Talbot's going back in net tonight. Koskinen will probably play tomorrow for the back. It's great he's playing. You can't argue with that. My guard is just still up.
So you're saying we can't argue with your point? You just stated that. We can't argue with
You can't argue with his 3 wins.
He's only won 2 games.
He's won 3.
He's won 3.
He's won 3 games.
He's won 3.
I don't feel like it was as bad as it appeared on the scoreboard. That bounce was unbelievable. Bertuzzi, the only Bertuzzi to ever bat anything out of midair is Todd Bertuzzi's young adult son. That
Where were you going with that?
Got a little savage. I think it was just a bad luck game for Koskinen. He played really well, but I agree with Chris. I think that, and you can't argue with Chris because he said we can't argue with him, but Talbot deserves to get back in the net and bounce back from his last outing.
But it's good. It's awesome we have this backup playing.
Oh, 100%. It's awesome. When was the last time we had a backup that played consistently good?
This guy says
maybe Matthew Guerin.
Maybe when we had the 3-headed goaltender there.
Mike Morrison might have been one.
Yep. Morrison,
so long as there was a shootout.
And Markkinen and Conklin, one combination of them could be considered a good backup.
Mika Koskinen, more like Mika Koskinen.
Yeah, that's you could say that.
You can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that. Nathan asks, I find it strange that the Oilers still haven't played any Pacific Division teams yet and already a month into the season. Do you think this would be an advantage or a disadvantage as we draw closer to playoff time?
This is kind of a big deal that Nathan McKinnon is asking us this question. He really wants to play the Oilers. A frequent reader of Oilersnation.com. Nathan McKinnon, Colorado Stars, Avalanche.
Colorado Stars, Avalanche.
What is Avalanche Star?
Videos other Dan is having a stroke.
I am.
Uncontrolled.
Does anybody else smell burnt toast? So it's one of those seasons where they're obviously and hockey's obviously making a baseball style shift to making divisional rivals a more important part of the game. And so it makes sense for hockey to have a more east-west heavy schedule to start the year out, and then have the teams meet up with each other. You get that animosity built up by playing each other a couple times. And you saw that with the Bruins. We played the Bruins 2 times in 2 weeks, and there was a huge amount of anger and frustration between the two teams. That was good to see. So I think, playing the Capitals tonight, there's another team that we kind of beat up.
Big
on.
rivalry, the Edmonton Oilers, Washington Capitals. Big
Yes.
rivalry. Get that brewing in November. At the end of the year, you're gonna see a whole bunch of Pacific teams. I think it doesn't matter. Just fucking win your games.
Yeah.
Well,
Who gives a shit?
win your games. It scares me a bit because we're playing good hockey now, and there's going to come a time where we have a lull and we go on a losing streak because that happens with anybody. So the
Chris,
fact
why do you hate the Oilers?
it just happens to everybody. It's no secret. So the fact that we're not playing Pacific teams now and we're going to play them later, I'm hoping those later games are not when we're in our lull.
It's a positive thing though, because even last year when the Oilers were all kinds of ass, they still were good against Pacific Division. So I can't imagine that changing. The Pacific Division is significantly weaker than the Central Division. So I mean, this isn't going to be a bad thing. On to the next question. We have Dale. Dale wants to know, outside of the odd game here or there where the special teams let the team down, I've seen a lot of improvement on both the PK and the PP this season. Are you seeing the improvements as well? If so, what do you see as the biggest reason for the change?
I think there has been a marked improvement. We were historically bad last year on the PK, and I think that probably comes down to a lot of coaching. The players are pumping Yanni's tires quite heavily, and they're saying things that are like they sound like they're very subtle or certain very nonchalant things to comment on, but they talk about how Yanni's very positive with them and he likes talking to the players and stuff. And I think that's more indicative of the fact that they didn't have that with Johnson back in the day.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that your special teams, there's skill to it, but it's a lot of confidence as well. And right now they have lots of confidence, and I think you can tie that back in with the new coaching staff. They're also looking a lot more aggressive on both the PK and the power play, which is probably helping. But because they have high confidence, it allows them to be a little more aggressive.
I think the special team success is a bit of an overstatement, to be totally honest. Like the power play right now is middling. It's operating 21.74%. A lot of that comes down to just having McDavid. The PK still sucks. They're 26 in the league, 73.1. That's not good.
But it is also compared to last season.
Yeah, but I mean, that bar is set so low. You're going from like historically bad to just regular bad.
I think they were doing much better statistically until they played Minnesota. Then they just got fucking dumped. That was what three power play goals against on 3 opportunities. Like that's gonna knock your statistics down a bit. But yeah, I think Chris is right that it's an improvement from what we had last year, which not necessarily the greatest thing, but still it's better than what we had last year. It doesn't feel like every time we take a power play or take a penalty, we're going to get scored on, which we felt like last year.
We even see power play number 2 coming through. Jason Garrison. In 2018 scored a goal, which big shock. Nobody saw that coming. Yeah. Anyways, question 5. Lance in Sasky, which he makes sure that we know he's from Saskatchewan, Lance. Do you think it was the right move to send Evan Bouchard back to junior? I thought he played well enough to stick around, and I don't know what else he has left to learn in junior.
I agree.
That's a fair question, because you put up that video today of him scoring his first goal.
I did.
And Jesus Christ, that looked like the most low-effort, easy-ass goal you'll ever score.
It's a confidence thing, too, though. If you were to go on and play 30, 40, 50 games in the NHL, playing 12 to 15 minutes a night, if that, he's probably not going to have a lot of confidence at the end of that stint. Whereas if he goes and plays 30 minutes a night, I don't know, in the OHL, scores a goal a game, he'll
Scores 100 goals.
Scores 100 goals.
Wins
in
the
season.
Memorial Cup, scores 10 goals in the final, goes to the World Juniors, scores 30 goals.
Exactly.
There's a lot
His
of
confidence will
confidence
be
built.
his confidence will be at an all-time high, and that's what you want in a prospect.
There's 2 realities of Evan Bouchard. One, he's a victim of the rules in not allowing him to go to the AHL. He should be in the AHL right now. He's better than the OHL, not yet ready for the NHL. That's just it. Second thing with Bouchard is the expansion draft. In 2020, whatever it is, when Seattle comes in the league, we're going to have to protect a certain amount of players, and if you start playing Bouchard now, then he is added to that list.
Right, you want to keep him on his entry-level deal because the rules of Vegas is anybody in the ELC is exempt from the expansion draft.
Yeah, you don't have to. You didn't have to protect them, and so they're starting to think ahead for that kind of thing, because you don't want to lose. You don't want to necessarily have to protect Bouchard and lose an Adam Larson or something like that into the expansion draft. So this is just one of those issues where, like I said, he's a victim of two of the rules, two of the things that are coming up, two of the issues, and that's what it is.
All right, Evan, do you want to open the floor up to questions now from the audience? Do you got any good questions in there? Did anybody reference that I look like Waldo?
Yes.
Okay.
Has
Lots.
anyone done that yet?
Lots.
Wow.
Someone said Talbot's in tonight, Koskinen probably
Yep.
facing Tampa tomorrow. What's the logic in that? Do you think it matters who plays the Caps and who plays Tampa?
No.
Washington's starting some guy named Phoenix tonight, so there's
Guys named Phoenix Copeland.
there's a good start. But I don't think that there's really. It's not like the Chicago Nashville back to back where you had like a decision to make there because one team's good and one team isn't. It was just this is just one of those things where you choose a guy that hasn't played for a while versus a guy that has played the last game. So I think it's just not a big deal.
Another one is bring back Ethan Bear to the NHL.
Yeah, there's a chance that could happen right now.
Well,
They're operating with Kevin Gravel as their number 7D. I think Ethan Bear just came back from an injury.
Bear just came back from an injury, so he's not coming back at full flight. He didn't even play on the power play in the last game, so
Yeah.
he's got some more games to get under his belt in the AHL.
Caleb Jones could be the one we see get recalled. He has 7 points in 9 games in the AHL.
Yep. I think for sure we'll see either Jones or Barrick this season. I don't think anytime immediate.
You don't need it because Gravel's played well coming up, and
Yep.
he's played fine.
Is Pool Party a bust?
No,
I mean, he's only... If you look at it like this, imagine a prospect drafted from North America. This would have been his first non-junior year. You don't label a prospect as a bust in their first pro year out of junior, and Puljujärvi just have the unfortunate circumstance of coming over from Europe. The Oilers have historically been absolute dog shit at developing Europeans, and that's kind of the problem. I don't know if he'll ever work out here. I don't know if he's the guy they wanted to draft because they haven't really given him many opportunities to thrive, but I would give him at least another, this year and another year before labeling him as a bust.
You don't call a 20-year-old a boss.
That's
Simple as
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you think Ratty will help Lucic and Strome with the scoring struggle?
That is just a black hole.
Okay, but if he does, if Ratty continues his answer streak,
Then he's the true. If he can make that line score, then he's the answer.
oh, you just got me excited. He's gonna do it.
He
He's
wants
gonna reignite.
All right,
Okay, Dan
Dan wants to end this thing.
hates
We're over
this.
10 minutes.
Dan's over it. He's
We're
not on
over
the
10
camera, so
minutes.